In our last lesson video, we solved the solution to exercise 1. We learned on how to convert radians to degree and also degree to radian. And we used the conversion basis of 2 pi radian is equals to 360 degrees. Now we want to learn more on angles. We want to learn on positive and negative angles alongside with the quadrants. So let's begin with the concept of positive and negative angles, which will then lead to quadrants. If we have the Cartesian plane of 0 degrees, or let's call this x and y axis. Let's do that. And also we have the Cartesian plane of also x and y axis. If the angle is moving in this direction, which we will call anti-clockwise, the anti-clockwise direction, we say this is positive angles. But if it is moving in the clockwise direction, we'll call this the negative angle. Now remember that this is always the starting point for angles, 0 degrees, and also this is the starting point for angles, 0 degrees. Now, with that being said, we can say this is positive 60 degrees because it is moving from the starting point. Okay, let's draw that for more understanding. We have 60 degrees, positive 60 degrees, because it is moving in the anti-clockwise direction. And in the same vein, we will have the negative 60 degrees, because it is moving in the clockwise direction. So this is what we tag as positive angles and negative angles. The positive angles have the anti-clockwise direction, negative angles are moved in the clockwise direction. Let's write that down. Positive angles, we have it in the anti-clockwise, and negative angles, we have it in the clockwise direction. Now, in trig, generally make use of positive angles most of the time, but then as time goes on, we will involve negative angles so that we establish understanding. So we can easily tag positive angles to give us something like this, positive angle theta, and we can tag negative angles to give us something like this, negative angle minus theta. Okay. Now let's deal with the case of quadrants. Quadrant in itself represents 90 degrees. So if you have a unit circle in a Cartesian plane, the unit circle has a total of angle at the point of 360 degrees. But then with the Cartesian plane, it is being divided into 4 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can call these 90 degrees as quadrants. So we can say this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. So let's depict that in a more interesting way. This is the third quadrant. In a more interesting way, we will have the first quadrant ranging from 0 degrees to 90 degrees. So we have 0 less than or equals to x less than or equals to 90 degrees. Similarly, okay, 0 less than x less than 90 degrees. Similarly, in the second quadrant, we are saying the angles range from 90 degrees to 180 degrees. So the range of angles will be 90 degrees less than x less than 180 degrees. Also, in the third quadrant, the range of angles from 180 degrees down to 270 degrees. So the range of angles will be 180 degrees less than x less than 270 degrees. And finally, the fourth quadrant, we will have the range of angle from 270 degrees to 360 degrees. So we have 270 degrees less than x less than 360 degrees. So now we can have numerous questions and say, locate the quadrant of a particular angle, or locate the smallest acute angle of a particular large angle. So let's try that now. We are given the angle 35 degrees and we are asked to locate the quadrant of this angle. If we look at angle 35 degrees, note that it is positive, and we understand that positive goes anti-clockwise and negative goes in the clockwise direction. Positive and negative. So the positive 35 degrees is here between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. So with that, we can easily say that this falls in the first quadrant. Similarly, let's take another question and we'll say 195 degrees. 195 degrees falls between 180 degrees less than x and less than 270 degrees. So automatically we can see that this falls in the third quadrant. If you draw a diagram to represent this, 195 degrees starting from positive x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction, we will go and land there, and this will be 195 degrees. Also, if we have, let's say, something like 230 degrees, 230 degrees is less than 270 degrees, but it is also greater than 180 degrees. So it falls in the range of 180 degrees less than x less than 270 degrees, and this is also in the third quadrant. If we draw a diagram to represent this, we will have something similar to that which we have in question 2, where we will have in the anti-clockwise direction 230 degrees. Let's take a question using negative angles. Let's assume we have minus 60 degrees. Minus 60 degrees, we understand that positive angles goes in the anti-clockwise direction, negative angles goes in the clockwise direction. We have positive angles, we have negative angles. So if we have minus 60 degrees, just to depict an exercise on negative angles, minus 60 degrees, we start from here, from the positive x, and move to form minus 60 degrees. And this is in the fourth quadrant. And finally, let's assume we have minus 120 degrees. Minus 120 degrees falls where? Pause the video now and give it a try. Okay, let's continue. So if we are moving in the anti-clockwise direction, this is 0 degrees, this will be 90 degrees, and this will be 120 degrees. And remember that they are all in the negative angles. So we can call this minus 90 degrees and we can call this minus 120 degrees. So with that, minus 180 rather. -180 degrees. So with that, we are looking for minus 120 degrees since we are moving in the negative direction. That's the clockwise direction. So this will move like this and stop here. We are starting from here and we call this minus 120 degrees. So this is the third quadrant. So in conclusion, here are the quadrants of trig. We have the first quadrant, we have the second quadrant, we have the third quadrant, and we also have the fourth quadrant. The first quadrant ranges from 0 to 90 degrees. The second quadrant ranges from 90 degrees to 180 degrees. The third quadrant ranges from 180 degrees to 270 degrees. And the fourth quadrant ranges from 270 degrees to 360 degrees. This is when we are considering the positive direction of the angle.